Hi, it's Amy Williams here for the You Perform channel. Now I have Arron, our fitness expert. Last week, Arron was talking about top tips for winter training. Now today, we've gone a little bit calmer because you're going to talk to us about meditation and mindfulness. That's quite a big subject, isn't it? There's quite a lot of areas that we could cover. Where are you going to take us today?
It's a big, scary subject for many people. Most people really have no idea what it is. They know mindfulness, they should be doing it, but what is it and how do you even get started? And that's where most people fall down, right? They Google it and there's so many different things that come up and it's quite confusing. When we think about meditation, we think maybe we've got to sit quietly and calmly for at least 45 minutes with no thoughts entering our mind to have a good practice. But that's really difficult, right? In our hectic lives, we have got 1,000,001 things going on in our brains. We are overstimulated all the time. Think about your day. How many stimulations do you have? Your phone, your television, your conversation with someone, you've got work stuff going on, kids, a car drive by you, whatever. You're constantly on the go. There's so much information to have to process the whole time. So to try and switch that off and go quiet, it's near on impossible for most people.
I've never done that.
It's happened to me once or twice in all my times of meditating, and I'm quite a chill person, so I can only imagine how difficult it is for many other people. And so that's the first stumbling block, right? You do a meditation class, you do something online, and you think, well, I was rubbish at that. I couldn't do it, I couldn't quiet my mind, so many things came in, I'm not going to bother again. How many times that happened? You probably had that, your hand goes up. And so people fall at that first block, but it doesn't need to be as complicated as that. And we don't need to be as hard on ourselves as that, right? Because we know that there's so much going on in our day-to-day, of course it's going to be hard to quieten the mind. So just like any other part of your body, you have to train to get better at it, right? If I want to have stronger arms, I've got to train to get better at that. So I can't just expect my mind just to do it straight away. We know there's these different apps out there for brain training to get better at maths and different things. It's exactly the same for meditation. It's exactly the same to quieten the mind and switch it off. We've got to train to get better at it.
So what would you say as a very beginner? I have tried it before and I just got really frustrated that I could not switch the brain off at all, and I haven't done it since. What would you suggest to me? Where would I start? What is a good place? I've now got, let's just say I've got half an hour of the day. What is it that I can go off and do to get into that right headspace?
So I think mindfulness and meditation is such a big area that you can find something in there that's going to suit you. Okay, so it could be that when you are doing a meditation, you're doing a movement with it as well. So Qigong, that's what I teach. It's moving meditations. It's perfect for me because I'm distracted by my movement. I'm distracted about what's going on in my body. I'm thinking about things internally. I'm thinking about my emotions or an organ or something I'm trying to heal. So even though there's still some things going on in my mind, it's internal. It's quiet in the mind away from the other 1,000 things that would normally be going on. So that's a great place to start. Find something that distracts the mind a little bit. We can think about Buddhist monks. They often have meditation beads. They're counting and they're meditating. Even those guys who are, the most chilled Zen people, you think they can meditate perfectly, they do have distraction tactics. So find those distraction tools for you. Guided meditations are brilliant. There's some brilliant apps out there who'll talk you through a meditation. So a sensory meditation is really great. So a sensory meditation, you might start on doing some breath, think about how that feels. Then you'll think about how your toes feel. Then you'll think about how the wind or the air feels on those toes, or how the clothing feels on the skin, and you'll move up around the body. And just by taking your mind to a different place and moving on before you get bored of that spot and distract it as you go through, will allow you to stay a lot calmer and a lot quieter in the mind than you would do in a normal meditation or a time when you're just focusing on the breath and trying to quieten it down. And then the other side of things is actually mindfulness and meditation can come from stuff that you enjoy, that you love. There's those things that you do that the time just flies by and you didn't really even realize what you were doing or what you were thinking about. That's a meditation. So it could be that when you go for a walk, and maybe hopefully don't have your phone distracting, but go for a walk, just do some breathing and just gazing into the trees and just thinking about what's around you more than all the other distractions. Some people, it might be ironing. That's not for me, but a lot of people love ironing. They love the kind of quietness and the calming aspect of just being repetitive with that movement. Often repetitive movements are very easy to meditate into because you don't need to think about what's going on too much. Other people, it might be cooking, Some people can find that they get a nice meditation from a run because it quietens their mind enough. So
playing the piano, I guess, something like that. Something that, like you say, you can just switch your head off. Sitting there, if you play the piano, if they're just playing their music, something that they're maybe doing something with their head, but they're so skilled at it potentially that they don't have to think about it.
Yeah, anything that quietens your mind and takes you into one thing, or you're focusing on one thing. Like, candle meditations is another big one that people do. They focus on a candle and they focus on the flame. I know that's not internal, but you're focusing on one thing, taking your mind, hopefully, away from everything else that is going on around you.
So Arron, have you got any good techniques that we can go through now that we can use just to be able to take a beginner through some mindfulness and meditation?
Yeah, so a lot of my clients, like everyone, really struggle with it straight away, but I really want to work on breath work with people at the beginning of their journey with me in the gym. So we do some very basic breathing techniques. I think the word meditation scares a lot of people. Effectively, in meditation, you're just breathing for long periods of time. And if you breathe and you work on those breathing exercises, you're going to get stronger at them. And therefore, you'll start to get stronger with the mind as well. So we're going to give you 3 really simple things that you can do. They don't look too weird, so you can do them when you're sat on a train, when you're waiting in a queue. You can just go through them. And they're not going to be too dangerous. So if you're sat driving, there's certain breathing techniques that can be quite dangerous when you're driving, but you can focus on some belly breathing whilst you're driving, or some chest breathing without it kind of detrimenting your focus. So what you need to do is, if you're sat down, I'm going to sit away from the back of the chair, so you're supporting your own spine and your own posture. Place one hand on your belly, one hand on your chest. This is so you can feel the breathing areas in your body. You can close your eyes if you want. You can relax into this. I want you to start by taking a deep breath into your belly and into your chest. So in through the nose, and then out through the nose. Let the chest collapse down, let the belly draw in towards the spine. And then on the in-breath, you're only going to breathe into the belly. So you're going to breathe into the belly, and then out from the belly. Into the belly, so you should feel the belly expanding outwards as far as you comfortably can. And then when you breathe out, the belly button should draw back in towards the spine. Keep breathing there, trying to slow the breath down little by little. Trying to find more and more range in the belly every time you breathe in and out. You may also notice a little expansion into the sides of the abdomen, and also into that lower back area as you're finding space in the abdomen. Always breathing in through the nose and out through the nose if you can. Getting a little bit slower every few breaths. Noticing how it feels to breathe fully into these areas. Notice if there's any restrictions. Notice if it feels like it's blocking you anywhere. Every few breaths you may find a bit more room in the breath, a bit more depth to it. We're just going to take 2 more long, slow breaths there. And at the end of the second breath, just relax for a moment. So that's already started to slow you down. It's connected to this area here where a lot of us don't tend to breathe into very well because we take these short, sharp breaths into our chest. The next area we're going to focus on is just breathing into the chest and ribs to open up this area and gain control over this area of breath. So we're going to take a normal breath in again, into the belly, into the chest. We breathe out, we let the chest collapse down and the belly draw back in. And then on the in-breath, we breathe just into the chest. So we breathe in, the chest rises and the abdomen stays relatively still. And as you breathe out through the nose, the chest slowly collapses down. Breathing in, chest rises up. Breathing out, the chest collapses down. And just still working at your own pace. Again, trying to slow it down little by little. As you breathe in, notice the expansion in the ribs. Notice the expansion of the mid-back and shoulders. As you breathe out, the chest collapses down. Noticing again where you feel restricted, anywhere that feels stiff and tight. And trying to add a little bit more length to the breath every few breaths. Don't force the breath, just let it naturally increase. We don't want to put any tension into the body. And again, we're going to take 2 more breaths here, long and as slow as you can. And at the end of that second breath, you can just return back to a normal, relaxed breathing pattern for you. So we've warmed up these 2 breathing areas. We've activated some of the muscles in the abdomen so we get more expansion here. We've loosened off and activated the muscles in the rib cage so we get more range in the chest. We're going to put those areas together now in what would be more of a natural full breath. So we're going to breathe into the belly, then into the chest, then out from the chest, out from the belly. It's quite tricky for many people to get that separate control. So we're going to give it a try and I'll guide you through. So again, we take a deep breath into the nose and into your belly, into your chest. And as you breathe out, you let your chest collapse down, belly drawing towards your spine. Then as we breathe in, the belly expands outwards first. As the belly is almost full, we breathe into the chest. Then we breathe out from the chest and then in from the belly. Good. Belly, chest, chest, belly. Trying to feel the 2 separate areas working independently, but also together. So the belly first. As it's almost full, it comes into the chest. Then out from the chest. And out from the belly. Again, trying to slow that breath down more and more every few breaths. Noticing where you feel stuck in any areas. Noticing if you can't control each area independently. And again, we just take 2 more long, slow breaths at your own pace. Trying to breathe fully into the abdomen, fully into the chest. And at the end of those second breaths, just return back to a normal and relaxed breathing pattern for you. So you should be feeling quite chill now. Yeah. Hopefully noticing that the whole stress levels have come down, which is a really important part about this. But most of the time it quietens the mind. Still be some little bits going on, but focusing on how it feels to breathe into each area, giving yourself the focus of things to focus on inside the body will help to quieten the mind down a little bit. And you can always take that one step further by adding a count to that as well. So that will distract the mind even further if you're really struggling. But those are some amazing breathing exercises. And I say the word exercise because the more you do them, the better you get at them and the more benefit you'll have from them as well. rather than thinking about, like we said earlier, oh God, I can't do it. You've got to train it. So you've got to put yourself through the exercises to make it better and stronger. And you can do those anywhere. So belly breathing, 5 minutes, chest breathing, 5 minutes, then put them both together. Amazing before bed. If you had a stressful day, you can't quiet that mind, someone who really struggles to get off to sleep, get rid of the devices, lie in bed. It's not going to disturb anyone who might be led next to you. You can just do belly breathing for a bit, chest breathing, put them both together, and often or not, you will just fall asleep.
I'm going to try it tonight. Yeah,
really
that was
work.
definitely relaxing. It was funny. To combine the two together was a lot more of a challenge. I found it a lot easier separating them. And then to try and relax the shoulders, because obviously when you breathe through that chest, I felt like my shoulders, were rising up, and I felt like I couldn't expand that greatly. You know, I felt like I didn't have quite the same deep breath. But definitely the more you did it and you tried to sort of relax into it at the same time, you could feel the shift just happen.
Yeah, you're right. It just takes practice. So well done that you start to feel that already. I think a lot of us really struggle to breathe into the belly. A lot of practices like yoga and things are great for helping people to do that. But a lot of people hold their abdomen in because they're conscious about how this area looks. So we hold tight through here, and then we tend to breathe only into the rib cage. We've got to breathe into here. Most of the gaseous exchange tends to happen towards the bottom part of the lungs. So we need to open up into this area so the lungs can expand and we can get air all the way to the bottom of it. So if we're holding this consciously, we're not going to be breathing there. So by taking away from that, focusing on breathing into that area, creating range, strengthening these breathing muscles here, then opening up the ribs, these muscles, the intercostals get really, really stiff and tight if we take short, shallow breaths all the time, and our posture, a lot of us, doesn't really help that either. So you might have felt actually your back was releasing a little bit there. You feel like you could expand more because your posture was coming back. So there's all these little added benefits. And just having skill in controlling the different breathing areas will help you when you're doing physical performance as well. Being able to control those areas independently is harder than it looks. So again, that's a really good distraction for the mind. So yeah, give those a go because they're really, really simple and can be done anytime, anywhere.
Well, thank you, Arron. I am nice and chilled and calm, and I might go and have a little nap before we wrap up. Well, thank you for tuning in again. Please set those reminders, hit that bell, and we will see you next time on the You Perform channel.